We are Snowbird Nation. Hey, welcome to Snowbird Nation, a lifestyle connection of resources to designing lives. What is a snowbird, you ask? Well, a snowbird is a person who travels south or west during the winter months in order to escape northern weather and obtain partial relief from the high cost of northern area taxes. So snowbirding is that act of traveling and living part of the year and spending part of the time in southern and western areas to enjoy the beautiful climate and all the south and west has to offer, while at the same time avoiding the harsh polar vortex that may be coming in the winter weather of the north. Feel free to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, podcast, YouTube, Vimeo, and elsewhere, for we are Snowbird Nation, and I am the voice of Snowbird Nation, Mike Searcy. Snowbird Nation is divided into 2 segments per episode. Segment 1 is dedicated to education and opportunity for you or those of you who want to learn more about snowbirding. Segment 2 is dedicated to those of you visiting the Valley of the Sun, whether you're visiting now for a number of months or a short vacation with us here in Arizona. We're going to go over what exciting events are happening, as well as cover the real estate market numbers to date. So you will want to stick with us on today's show. Segment 1 starts right now on Snowbird Nation.
Hey guys, welcome into Snowbird Nation. My name is Jason Stansel. With me as always, the voice of Snowbird Nation, Mr. Mike Searcy. And we are on episode number 5, Michael, and this is a big one. Episode number 4 was a lot of fun. We had Lawyer's Title in, but we've got a new guest today.
Yes, episode number 4 was great. In fact, episode 5 has a new feature sponsor. Our feature sponsor today is Fairway Mortgage Corporation. And with us today, as a matter of fact, is Eric Aramian, who is the senior loan officer, sales manager, etc., jack of all trades over at Fairway Mortgage, and probably one of the more successful loan officers, and runs a big loan lending team here in the Valley of the Sun. Welcome, Eric.
Hey, thank you very much for having me.
One of the things that we want to talk about, Jason, today, and having invited Eric on the show, is a little bit about some of the easiness or the smoothness that a transaction can take in terms of actually getting financing when you're coming from out of state, potentially looking at a second home, or potentially looking to sell the one that you have up in the polar vortex somewhere and buying something down here. There are a number of ways of doing that, I assume. Eric, why don't you give us a couple of ideas on what might make that whole process smooth? I've heard people talk about, even reverse mortgages for a purchase, which is surprising to me. But why don't we go ahead and talk about your thoughts on what makes the whole process easy?
Well, the way I look at it is the amount of volume that we do as a company. We do about $3 billion with a B dollars a month in business.
Oh my goodness. Unbelievable. See, now Fairway, not to stop you, but Fairway has really seemed to come on over the last 5 years.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
And it has just been everywhere. Sponsorships, billboards. I mean, this has become an extremely popular firm. And I think you guys are the number 1 rated firm in Arizona, aren't you?
In Arizona, that's correct. We're the 4th largest VA lender in the entire country. That just came out just a few days ago. So in order to do that type of business, there has to be a few things in place. One, rates have to be competitive, right? I'm not saying we're the lowest. I'm not saying we're the highest. We're super competitive. I don't think I've ever lost a rate. But the second thing, and to me it's the most important, is there has to be specific systems in place, right? You cannot do that type of volume unless really specific systems are in place to make it smooth, close on time or before, and that's just what we do.
So making it more organized, Mike, back to your point on what makes it a really smooth transition, $3 billion a month, that's huge numbers. So we have the confidence when we see the snowbirds on our program coming in from the polar vortex, as Mike had mentioned, and we send them to you prior to them even coming to Arizona? Can you pre-qualify them? Can you start looking at their processes? Tell us about how you would do that.
Absolutely.
We have somebody in Chicago that wants to come in. What do we do?
And even before that, one of the things
Right.
we've mentioned on previous shows is that a pre-qualification, if you don't have cash on hand, that you can give me some sort of a PDF that shows an account statement, your name on it, and an account balance to actually cover the entirety of the cost of the purchase, you're required in the state of Arizona to have a ticket to the show. And that ticket to the show is a pre-qualification form, and you only get it from somebody who knows something about actually doing lending here in the state of Arizona, because I've worked with other lenders from other states, or people that think I do all 50 states, and then you ask them for a pre-qualification form, and
So what's that?
and they
What
send you
is
something that looks
exactly?
like a blank page on stationery with a couple of paragraphs that do not actually meet the requirements in Arizona. Eric, what do we do?
Yeah, it doesn't. It does not take long. It takes literally about 10 minutes to fill out the application. We can do it either online through my website. Most people, it's pretty smooth and streamlined. It takes about 8 to 10 minutes. Once they do that, it allows me. I get notified. It allows me to kind of pull everything through, and then I call the client back just to go over any blank spaces that have been missing. The whole process takes, especially coming from other states, if true snowbirds, most typically they're going to be retired or at least close to it. Mm-hmm. So income is pretty simple. Not a lot of complicated tax forms that I have to go through and do different calculations on income. So the whole process can literally take 15 to 20 minutes, including filling out the application.
Eric, I got to interrupt you. You said online. If you do the whole process online, then you get it. Well, I assume that there is a very specific website or something that people would need to go to if you're saying online for you to get it.
Well, for me to get it, it's just my website. It's the Aramian Group. So it's THE Aramian, ARAMIAN Group at fairwaymc.com. Oh, that's my web. Sorry, .com. TheAramianGroup.com.
TheAramianGroup.com. And I will tell you, just for those of you that are listening from all over the country, if you're having trouble with his last name, which is Aramian, of course, how I remembered it, just kind of off the cuff, it finally it took me a while to figure it out, but I finally actually remembered the word Arabian, like as in Saudi Arabia.
Correct.
Arabian, just substitute the M for the B and you've got it down.
That's exactly right. I actually say that. I can't tell you how many times somebody has butchered my last name. It's unbelievable.
That's the funny part about being in radio and with my last name. It is, if you think about it, pretty easy.
Yep.
Eric Aramian with the Aramian Group, and we are very glad to have Fairway Mortgage and Eric be the sponsor of today's episode. So let's talk about the different actual mortgages that you can do. As you just alluded to, a lot of our true snowbirds that are listening to our program are going to be retired or close to retired, so 62 and older in a lot of cases. What do you guys touch on? Can you do reverse mortgages for these guys? Because I know there's a lot more home you can buy. What are the different programs that are out there? I know the All-in-One is a good program. What do you guys carry?
Yeah, we carry everything under the sun. Literally everything under the sun. I don't care who we're competing against. We have the program. So anything from a forward mortgage, which is just your second home, basic standard conventional mortgage, putting 20% down, 3%, or even as low as 5% down. Doesn't really matter.
For a second home, as low as 5?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
We have the ability to do reverse mortgages as well as a purchase. A lot more down, obviously, on that. But with that, obviously, there's no payment attached to it because it's a reverse mortgage.
Right.
So there's a bunch of benefit to that as well.
Now, you say the word, and I want to kind of just check you on this one, because I think a lot of our listeners aren't really 100% certain on what a reverse mortgage is, except for what that guy with the big mustache on television commercials say.
Tom Selleck.
Yeah, man. Tom's the reverse mortgage guy. Love Tom Selleck.
And having said that, then what often happens is people start talking in rec centers and local village halls and things like this, especially in Illinois, and I'm hearing this more and more, saying, well, you can fall for that whole thing about the reverse mortgage, but the only thing that's designed to do is for the bank to steal your home.
Incorrect.
And so, two things I'm hoping you'll clarify for our listeners right now. The first is, when you say, obviously, no payment, what does that mean? And when you talk about that, how do I buy a house with a significant down, but I'm not paying the whole the whole amount for the house, but then I have no payment. That can be confusing for a lot of people, and it can be confusing even for me. And then the second thing I'll come up with in a couple of moments after you've explained that one, because right now I just lost it. So go ahead.
All right, that is memory loss is the first thing, by the way. So
I heard it was the second thing.
The first thing.
I heard it was the second thing to go, and if you ask me the first, I will have forgotten it.
Yeah, that's correct.
So reverse mortgage it's designed for people with limited fixed income. And so there's different calculations. It's not an exact calculation. So at 62, the down payment might be 60%. It could be significant. As people get older, and let's say they either want to refinance or do a reverse purchase, the down payment can be less. So there's a calculation to it. It's not specific. It's kind of a moving target. But the reason why you don't have a payment on it, it's still it's gaining interest on it, but it is it's on the back end of the loan. So they attach it to the back end of the loan.
Got it.
So and it gets paid off just like a reverse or a forward mortgage would be. So let's say the unfortunate incident happens and the borrower passes away and the son or daughter heirs get the home. They simply just pay off that balance and are left with the home to be able to sell. So once they sell it, let's say it's a $300,000 house, they have a $150,000 reverse mortgage. They pay off the $150,000 home, or pay off the $150,000 mortgage, reverse mortgage, and then they're left with whatever the balance is after being sold.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Here's the second thing I was going to ask. So what is the spread or typical spread in that? Let's say that I am a prospective snowbird. I am finally tired of the Chicago polar vortex and I just don't want to be cold anymore. So I decide I'm coming down to the Valley of the Sun because I would rather shovel sunshine off my drive than snow off my drive. And so having said that, I've got a little nest egg. I don't have a lot of income, but I've got a little nest egg. And let's say I've got a couple of $100,000, maybe I've got a little more, whatever it might be. But then people are saying, well, with a reverse purchase, can I buy a house that's double that, triple that, 60% that, 40% more than that? What's a typical spread?
Yeah, the best rule of thumb would be 50%.
So I'd have to put 50% down, and then I wouldn't have a payment except for what? Maintenance,
taxes and insurance. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Taxes and insurance.
Got it. That's
and it's actually
amazing.
incredibly easy because as far as income is concerned, especially with people with fixed income or lower fixed income, is the only thing they have to qualify on is based on taxes and insurance. So as long as they have the money to be able to afford the payment on the taxes and insurance is really what the main concern is.
This is amazing because most people, when they talk about reverse mortgages on television or other places, most people are talking about taking a reverse mortgage out on a house you already have as a way of getting a payment in order to pay bills. And so it's interesting to note that you can actually do a reverse mortgage to purchase. And that's something I think a lot of snowbirds and a lot of people who are thinking about coming to Arizona just aren't aware of.
Right.
Is this something that can be done in all 50 states for that matter? Do you know?
Yeah, it absolutely can be done in all 50 states. I'm only licensed in Arizona and California.
So two, mind you, when we talked to episode 1, 2 of the 5 most popular snowbirding states in the country. Eric can take care of you right here.
Right. Well, we have team members all over the country. We're nationwide.
Okay.
So we would never let anybody go without
Oh, you
service.
guys are nationwide. I thought you were regional.
We are nationwide.
Oh, that's incredible. Mm-hmm. Fairway Mortgage, guys. Who knew? I've watched them
Fairway
come
Mortgage,
on really, really fast over the last at least 5 years.
It's
just
crazy.
like
It's
a
about the
rocket.
last 5 years. Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
And one of the things that I'm kind of go circle right back around to what you said a little while ago, Eric, in that you said number 1 for VA loans.
Number 1 in the country for VA, or no, I'm sorry, number 4 in the country for VA loans.
Number 4
That's
in
amazing.
the country for VA loans. And so any snowbird who's ready to get out of the snow anywhere in the country and come down here, I'm going to highly recommend that you contact Snowbird Nation. You contact Eric directly, and he's going to go ahead and give us his contact information one more time as well. But on the other side of the break, we're going to move on here in just a moment. Not on the other side of the break. Let me rephrase that. In the private section on Patreon.com, for those of you that are sponsoring our program and Snowbird Nation specifically. So for all of you Snowbird Nation citizens, we are going to have Eric on in a conversation back there, and he's not only going to talk to us a little bit more about how we are working with the VA folks, people who want a VA loan, and by all means, let's do that. Let's get your VA loan down here in Arizona and get that all set up. But by the same token, he's got a special discount opportunity just for Snowbird Nation citizens that we want to get into. You're going to have to sponsor and become a patron of the show to find out what that is, and we will see you on the other side of the break in just a few moments. So Jason, anything else?
Eric, why don't you give us your contact information one more time before we go to the private sector?
You got it. So, Eric Aramian, Aramian, and my mobile number is 602-920-4010. I can always be reached at the Aramian Group at fairwaymc.com, and my website is thearamiangroup.com.
You've been listening to Snowbird Nation with your host, Mike Searcy. To find out how you can become a member, go to Patreon, that's patreon.com/Snowbird Nation. Simply click on Become a Patron to join. You'll receive private investment opportunity, exclusive content, monthly news, and real-time industry updates. Join us every week right here on Snowbird Nation.
Here is your real estate market update for the Valley of the Sun here in Arizona for the last week of November 2019, sponsored by Mike Searcy, Chief Real Estate Advocate. Today we start with Sun City. Sun City is a strong seller's market with houses listing currently at an average of $147 per square foot, and condominiums currently listing on average of $129 per square foot. With a house median list price of $238,225 and an average day on market 49. Condominiums are currently listing at a median list price of $149,900 with an average days on market of 43. For Scottsdale, the snapshot zip code we are currently looking at today is 85260, which is roughly the area around Frank Lloyd Wright and the 101. Here we are looking at a strong seller's market with houses listing currently at $263 per square foot on average and condominiums listing at an average of $233 per square foot. The median list price for houses in this area is $727,500 with an average days on market of 62, and the median list price for condominiums is $349,999 with an average days on market of 66. In Phoenix, we are looking at the snapshot of zip code 85023 with, again, a strong seller's market. Here, the list prices of houses are averaging $176 per square foot, and the list prices of condominiums are averaging $140 per square foot. The median list price for houses in this area is $325,000 with an average days on market of 74, and the median list price for condominiums is $175,000 with an average days on market of 23. Current inventory is very low for condominiums in this particular zip code, and thus the numbers represent a wider margin of error. In Glendale, we are looking at the snapshot of zip code 85310, again a strong seller's market where we have houses listing for an average of $167 per square foot and
There is no numbers there presently for condominiums, as there were no sales there to contribute to the numbers. The current median list price for houses here is $369,950 with an average days on market of 85. If you are an interested buyer or seller wanting to know how these numbers affect your situation, call me, Mike Searcy, Chief Real Estate Advocate, at 217-553-3509. Hey, so this is the part of the show where we're going to go ahead and talk about the things and events that are happening right here in the Valley of the Sun at the beginning of December, where we are right now. Let's talk holiday lights. See, one of the nicest things to do almost anywhere in the country is to get the opportunity to go and enjoy, after dark, the holiday lights in public squares and public places and the like. I know that as a child growing up in the Chicago region, we used to love going downtown during Christmas time and around Christmas time just to go and view holiday lights. It's a tradition that goes back, at least in my family, till the time that I was way too young to even remember when it started. Alternatively, as I was growing up, and I spent some time even in Hawaii for a while and in Saudi Arabia, and did some time traveling around the globe, one of the greatest traditions I've ever found, which I get to do here in Arizona, is to actually go out and decorate for Christmas the palm tree. Let me tell you, folks, there's nothing quite like being able to go out and decorate Christmas trees, but how about in areas where there isn't any fir trees, any pine trees, etc.? None of this, so you don't get the traditional, and it feels so pleasant to be able to go out and see palm trees decorated, with Christmas lights, knowing that you're in a climate, in an area where other people are having to deal with that polar vortex, but we're actually here being able to spend some time in such beautiful climate and beautiful weather here in the Valley of the Sun. So having said that, I want to talk about a couple of different holiday lights sessions that are going on in and around the valley here. The first one, from November 29th, which was the original lighting, and that would have been tonight, all the way through January 5th. So we've got some time to see this. We want to go ahead and say all aboard, because Arizona's most unique holiday event is available to us. You can take a train ride through festive holiday lights and displays that turn the railroad park into a winter wonderland. And so when we're talking about this, the time is usually 6:30 to 9. It's closed December 24th, 25th, and 31st. But the location is the McCormick-Stillman Railroad Park, 7301 East Indian Bend Road in Scottsdale. And let me tell you, the Railroad Park is, in and of itself, one of the most unique places you can ever go, especially if you happen to be a model railroad hobbyist. And so this essentially is one of those things where you can ride the train, you can see lots of model trains, and it was, if my recollection is correct, it was actually granted like one of the best parks and unique parks by some organization, sorry, I forget who it was, in terms of one of the best places to visit in Arizona. So it's the best, actually, I take it back, I'm actually looking at it now, the best park in the country after winning the ELGLK Nope Best Park and Open Space Competition. We're talking about the nation's best railroad park. It's right here in the city of Scottsdale. And I'll tell you what, I've been, and it's amazing. And so to be able to go there and actually see and witness the lights and the Christmas lights in that whole center, it's almost as if the model train you might have put up around the Christmas tree as your family celebrates Christmas in its various ways. We used to actually put a model train up around our Christmas tree, and it was just beautiful. So take that, expand the experience by eons, exponentially, and add Christmas lights everywhere. That's what we're talking about here. This is a truly family-friendly, family-fun experience that you're just not going to want to miss. So the railroad park in Scottsdale, 6:30 starting most evenings, except for the couple of nights that that I just mentioned that it's not going to be. But you can find more information on this at www.therailroadpark.com. All right, the second one that I want to talk about is, again, the same time frame, November 29th, but not through January 5th this time, but actually extending a little bit longer through January the 11th. One of the other little great sections of the valley, Glendale, in Glendale, Arizona. If you love the magic of holiday lights, you're going to want to see the holiday sparkle in downtown Glendale. You get the opportunity to stroll through the historic downtown. There's going to be about a 16-block display with what I understand to be 1.6 million dazzling lights. 1.6 million. I feel for the workers that had to spend all that time setting that up and putting it together, but it is truly a sight to behold. And you're going to want to even possibly come down there and see the celebrations that are happening down there on the weekends through the holiday for this very purpose. But in the historic downtown, 58th Avenue and Glendale Avenue in Glendale, you're talking about 1.6 million holiday lights. I'm not sure I can count that high when it comes to even, getting dazzled by the lights. And I think it's well worth thinking about in terms of holiday lights. I'm the kind of person that just gets fascinated by all of the holiday lights and the glitz and the glam. And, you combine that with the beautiful climate here in the Valley of the Sun, and we are talking about truly a magical experience. It's an experience you just don't want to miss. Whether you're in Scottsdale or you're in Glendale, you are absolutely going to want to check out every weekend, every evening, the holiday lights that are happening on display to celebrate the season as we get into the festivities here in Snowbird Nation. So that's it for right now in terms of the events to do. I wanted to focus on holiday lights this time. And please come on out. And if you've got any other questions or any other issues you'd like to discuss or talk about with respect to Snowbird Nation, you can contact me at mike@snowbirdnation.us.
You've been listening to Snowbird Nation with your host, Mike Searcy. To find out how you can become a member, go to Patreon, that's patreon.com/Snowbird Nation. Simply click on Become a Patron to join. You'll receive private investment opportunity, exclusive content, monthly news, and real-time industry updates. Join us every week right here on Snowbird Nation.